Slick Rick, do you expect these Nets to rise up to the challenge come playoff time? Do you expect them to actually win significant series in the playoffs?
Oh, significant series. So much of that depends on who they get matched up with. But do I think that they can work their way out of the play-in if that's what it requires? And can they win a series? Yes, without question. Do I think they're going to make a lot of noise? Do I think they're good enough to get to the conference finals? I'm not quite that confident. But rise means, are they going to play better than what we've seen during the regular season? And I have no question about that because historically they've demonstrated that they can do that. And that is a very rare quality. It's why star power is what drives playoff engines. I'll say it again. Star power. It's why you need the KDs and the Kyries. It's why everybody wanted, even with the Lakers, like, all they got to do is get in and then watch out. What are Russ and Carmelo and LeBron going to turn the lamp on? Kyrie, KD, Patty Mills, Seth Curry, all of them either score and shoot at levels equal to what they do in the regular season or they take it up. That is a very rare quality. When defenses get the opportunity to game plan for you, when you are playing against the best of the best, when everybody's playing hard, and your ability to still maintain what you're able to do in the regular season, that requires a special talent, a creativity, a ability to improvise on the run. KD, Kyrie have that ability, and particularly when I look at some of the teams that they may be playing against, they have an ability that they do not.
Slick, I don't think the Nets rise to the occasion. I don't think the Nets really make any noise in the playoffs. You brought up a quote yesterday, a rising tide floats all boats. A rising tide floats all boats. Here's a problem with the Nets. The tide is going to rise along with the Brooklyn Nets. What's so interesting is KD's a baller. Kyrie's a baller. But it really doesn't matter how much they ball because it doesn't translate. Not for KD, not for Kyrie. You saw KD drop 55 points less than a week ago against the Hawks. Took a L. You saw Kyrie drop 43 points 2 weeks ago against the Grizzlies. Took a L. KD and Kyrie combining for 60-plus points and get no dubs. The most mind-blowing stat I recently read, as recent as this morning. KD's averaging 36 points a game the last 3 games against playoff teams in the East. Kyrie's averaging 24 points a game the last 3 games. That's 60 points between those two in their last 3 games against playoff teams in the East, and they 0-3. Look at this full screen, Slick, because this is really what blew my mind. LeBron James and AD, the year they won the chip, they gave you 50-plus points, 38-9. If they gave you 60-plus points, it was a dub, no question about it, 20-2.
Okay.
But when Kyrie and KD give you 50-plus, only 5-5. When they give you 60-plus, only 5-2. This is what a championship duo looks like. This is what a championship duo looks like because, remember, this was the year they won the championship. It doesn't translate for these Nets. So I think KD's going to ball in the playoffs. I think Kyrie's going to ball in the playoffs. I just don't think it's actually going to translate because, for whatever reason, they've never made it translate.
See, this is what's unique. First of all, these are all regular season marks, right? And the distinction is, what can you do in the playoffs? Because it's not just a matter of what they do, it's what the other team does. And generally, most players, most teams, especially if they don't have the experience of the postseason, they take a step back. So what they're doing in the regular season, if they can replicate that in the playoffs, is an advantage now against the Atlanta Hawks because the Atlanta Hawks don't play at the same percentage in the postseason.
Ice Trey. But he just gave him a dub just last week.
Go look at his numbers, his shooting percentages last year in the playoffs. They went down. His averages went down. The game got harder on Trae Young. And that's the great thing about Kevin Durant, more so than Kyrie Irving, is when you have a physical advantage that the other team can't compensate with by putting a long, agile defender on you the way that you can with Trae Young. So there is that. There's looking at the path because we're talking about this year. Let's not talk. You want to take this big picture and talk about every duo. I can't argue with you there. But if we're talking about who they would play along this year, you're going to play against Cleveland? Cleveland's never been there before. You're going to put your money on Darius Garland, or you're going to put your money on these guys?
There's a very good chance that in the play-in tournament alone, the Nets are going to have to see the Hawks. The same Hawks team that just beat them, even though KD dropped 55 points. KD can't give you more than, or he won't give you more than 55 in a game. 55, we talking career highs. So even if KD goes out there and gives you 55 points, a career high, That wasn't enough against the Hawks. Yes, the Hawks, Trae Young might have taken a step back from a shooting percentage perspective, but dude still made it to the Eastern Conference Finals just last year. So I'm not worried about how great KD and Kyrie are going to be, but when they're their greatest, everybody else is not. And I think that's what people aren't focusing enough with the Nets.
But here's the distinction, is that if you give me 3-4 days to game plan for Trae Young, I can make the game really difficult on Trae Young.
Mm-hmm.
If you give me 3-4 days to game plan for Kevin Durant, you can give me 3-4 weeks. He can still give it to me.
Okay,
that's the distinction.
You make a great point, but an opponent makes the game really difficult on the Nets. The Nets make the game really difficult on themselves. That's the problem. Because Kevin Durant, when he drops 50, he makes the game really difficult on his teammates. As you brought up the point it was yesterday, it's very interesting that when KD gets his buckets, for whatever reason statistically, no shot at easy money sniper, nobody else gets their buckets.
Right.
There's a reason that KD and Kyrie can give you 60, but the Nets are only 5-2 in those games. But LeBron and AD can give you 60, but the Lakers were 20-2 in the playoffs included, 16-2 in the regular season. So I feel you. Yeah. An opponent will have a hard time making it difficult on KD, but KD has an easy time making it difficult on his own teammates.
But see, here's the beauty of losing the way they did to the Atlanta Hawks and him getting 55, which it gives Steve Nash the videotape to take that and to take the way, say, they played against the Bucks when he had 11 assists and he was a facilitator and it got everybody involved. And we took the defending champions to overtime when you played this way, and we couldn't beat the Bucks when you played this way. So which way do we need to play, KD, going into this game? So you have the ability. It's actually losing to the Hawks that way gives Steve Nash the ammo he needs and the demonstration to say, KD, we can get this done. We just did it a couple days ago against the Milwaukee Bucks. We just need to do it this way. And Kevin Durant wanting to get where he wants to get to, he's not going to hang it on, I need to get 50. He's going to say, I need to get to the next round.
I'm just worried about the fact that if you're a Nets fan, you have to be cognizant of this. You lost to the Hawks when KD gave you 55. You lost to the Bucks when KD gave you 26 and 11.
Yeah.
You lost to the Hornets when KD gave you another 24 points. Eventually, you're going to have to wake up and say, wait a second. Hornets playing team. Hawks playing team, Bucks championship team, and we're 0-3 against all of them. Meanwhile, KD's giving me 36 points on average during the course of those games. Kyrie's giving me 24 points on average during the course of those games. You might see two of them just to get to the dance, and when you get into the dance, now you got a cha-cha with the Milwaukee Bucks, who, by the way, beat you last year and have beat you three times this year.
I don't want to cha-cha with the Milwaukee Bucks. The Boston Celtics, give me the Boston Celtics, I'm good. Even maybe the Philadelphia 76ers. The Milwaukee Bucks are the one team I want to miss. But here's the thing for me, and I need to share this with you guys because he's put me in a very uncomfortable situation.
I do it best. What can I say?
Don't make me fight so hard for Brooklyn. I'm nervous about them too, okay? I can just tell you.
Let me ask you this. Final thought, then final question. How far do they go?
It depends on who they play. I mean, honestly, I think they're capable of beating the Boston Celtics. Okay. Because the Boston Celtics, while they've had a great run.
Make this easy on me, Slick. How far do they go? Are they Eastern Conference Finals? Are they championship? Are they semis? They get bounced in the first?
Second round is as far as they will go.
Second round, far as they can go. You heard it there first.